my 7-day addiction.
So one class I will not skip.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody's there.
We
You're not even in my class.
I gotta go to school today. Watch today's fish day.
It came off again.
Is that the only area y'all fish?
Yeah. Well, that's the only place I used to take them to the Cimarron, and then they put some kind of dye in the water and it killed a lot of the fish. So we stopped taking them.
You're at a where mission?
Sheridan.
Sheridan.
Teach Outdoor Adventures is a pretty cool class. Take them fishing.
I'm playing around with my camera. Let's see if I can get this.
Is that a class that was already?
It's a PE class. This is my third year coaching it. We were the first ones in the valley to coach it.
Oh, I
For
consider
high
it PE.
school. So they get a PE credit, but it's
Sorry about that. My like I said, our camera is here. I'll keep an eye on it, and if anyone that's watching that we're having any issues with it, just send us a comment here, and I'll log them here. And
So if it's off of there, it's off, right?
yeah, if it's off of there, that means we're stuck here. And so here on the phone, like there's a delay on this screen behind us, so that's going to show that delay too. But but so sorry about that little bit of issues we had here. But welcome to the 9th episode of the Art of Fishing Show. Basically, our show is really engaged around talking about fishing, promoting fishing in the local regions, talking to people that fish a lot here, and really trying to help people in South Texas and really anywhere really just become better anglers. And today we have a really cool topic. I mean, we're talking. We always talk. I always say they're really cool, and everything's really exciting to me. But Fabian and I talk about, and Victor, we brainstorm what are things that people want to know, what are things that people want to talk about, and that's today we're going to talk about tournament fishing. So obviously tournament fishing is really big, is really busy in the summer, and right now it's kind of like the off season. People are at the ranch and the deer leases, and so there's still a few tournaments that go on every now and then here during the winter, but regardless, when the tournament is, we're actually going to be talking to two guys that need no introduction in the tournament world. I mean, you've seen their pictures all over, and they fish a lot of tournaments. They do well. Not to say they win all of them, but they compete in all of them, and that's part of what we'll be talking about today. Is really giving some context and some tips on how you guys can become better tournament fishermen. So I'd like to welcome my guest, Captain J.R. Martinez and Roy Bettis here. Welcome to the Art of Fishing Show. Yeah,
Thank you for showing up, man.
yeah. So let's talk about it. I mean, let's kind of put your tournament season, your 2019 tournament season into context. So how many tournaments? We'll start off with J.R. How many tournaments did you fish this year, J.R.?
probably fished about 5 big ones.
5 big ones.
Yeah, some good ones. Whenever I had a few charters and stuff, so I had to turn down some of them. But we made plans ahead of time on a few, and we did okay.
You even fished one out of Corpus.
Yes, we went to the Mayak Owners Tournament in Corpus, and that was a pretty neat tournament.
And when you say big ones, like what do you constitute as big tournaments?
Fifth, we didn't do LKT this year because that was the same weekend as the Mayak Owners. The Mayak Owners was a big tournament. I'm talking, over 250 boats. It was a big tournament. We did the Redfish Rodeo, which was a good one also, and a couple there at the Arroyo.
Okay.
Redfish Rodeo. Where's that one out of? Here.
That this year it was at the convention center.
Oh.
It's at the island.
So it's the amount of boats that are participating in the tournament.
And Roy, how many tournaments did you guys fish this year?
I think we did about, with the groups of guys, about 10 of them.
Okay.
Yeah, we try to do the big tournaments. We have jobs, so we get busy. Yeah. But most of the,
Don't look
I
like
would
you
say-
got a
I
job
was-
when you're out fishing every weekend.
nah,
me
we try
for
to
your job.
we try to do most of the tournaments that we see. As long as we have the group of guys that are going to be there, now we'll have a substitute or somebody, my cousin or a buddy of mine, a good buddy of mine that we fish with, and but we try to make it happen. And
Most of these local also?
yeah, local. Most of the time it's Arroyo, Port Mansfield, the island.
Do you do any like Corpus or Ransom?
No, not really.
Stay local.
Yeah, local.
Is that mainly because of that you know the area, or
Yeah, more the area, and the group of guys. I mean, the ones we fish with, we all have jobs, so try to get a weekend to fish. The group of guys, and I mean,
it's tough to do?
yeah, it's tough to get. Yeah.
So obviously, tournaments. So they're on the weekends. There's almost every day. So I know JR, like you're a captain, so you're going to be out fishing those days anyways. And sometimes your clients will they hire you to fish a tournament?
Yes, I have been hired to do tournaments, and ahead of time they know right off the bat the fee's not the same. It's an all-day deal, so they're paying a full day plus it's a different fee.
Yeah, no, yeah,
Yeah, 'cause
definitely.
Full day plus tournament fee.
Yes, plus tournament fee, and we did a lot this last 2 summers. Is I got a buddy of mine, Xavier Longoria. He's also just recently got his captain license. We've been fishing with our wives. And,
The tournaments with your wives?
We're doing
Yeah.
tournaments with our wives, and we actually, my wife won the trout division 3 times this summer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we were lucky to have her on the boat, and Nora, Xavier's wife, won the redfish last year at the OKT. So it's good to have our good luck charms, I guess, on the boat.
Yes,
But,
sir.
What's your buddy's name? You said
Xavier Longoria, he just
the tax guy, right?
yes.
Yeah, actually, he's my tax guy.
Oh, really?
If anyone needs your taxes coming out, and so Roy, you too. I mean, so obviously you're fishing 10 times a year. So like, why tournament and say versus just say like, why not just not get out and go fishing and
Compete. I mean, that's the biggest issue. Compete, and I mean a little bit extra money wouldn't.
Oh, if
I
you're
wouldn't mind
winning,
it, yeah.
right?
But I mean, competing is more. I mean, the group of guys, and I mean, we catch big fish, and you're like, oh, we should have fished this tournament, and you think about it, you're like, let's go ahead and just do the tournament. So, yeah, that's what the biggest compete and
challenge.
bragging rights. I mean, that's what it is.
yeah.
Yeah. So
And when you go into like tournament day, let's say tournament day compared to a regular weekend, what's the different mindset when it comes to a leisure weekend and the tournament weekend?
being prepared, that's one.
So by prepared, you mean what there? Like
Yeah,
what's
I
different
mean,
in your
being
preparation?
prepared is just having all your equipment and make sure you don't want to get there and
Have to rig
start
up.
really. Yeah, if you're rigged up, you better be ready. I mean, we're gonna fish, and I don't want to hear no complaining. We're gonna fish hard and we're gonna drop people off, fish areas, wade. I mean, we usually the guys that we fish with are mostly wading. I mean, all of us will fish different areas, areas that we normally catch fish, and we just kind of compete. So,
Okay.
What about mentally? For both of you, is there an aspect of hey, it's a tournament? I know, for example, me, when I go to a tournament, I just have a hard time because I'm focused on the tournament instead of focusing on just
Can
going
you
out and
still
having
go
fun.
and have fun when you're
Yeah.
fishing
Yeah.
a tournament?
I think we have a lot of fun. Our biggest, I think the most stressful part of the weekend is Friday night getting our croaker, because I'm a bait guy. We fish bait, and tournaments everybody's buying croaker. So that for us the preparation is Friday night, getting that croaker, making sure it's not going to die, and if it does, having a backup plan. And to us, that's the pressure. Once we get out there on the water, we tell each other we're going to have fun.
Yeah.
It's not worth it getting out there and arguing with each other, especially if you got your wife on the boat.
Because you never win.
You do that daily anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
It goes on.
You do that
go out
daily.
there and tell yourselves you're going to have fun and have fun, have a good time, And if I'm fishing, customers, I had customers that tipped this past summer, and they caught 38 keepers in 2 days, and the guys had a blast. We didn't place; we were ounces away from getting money on the trout division, but I mean. You put
38 fish?
38 keepers in 2 days, and
That's a blast,
They
man.
had fun. They had a lot of fun. They liked it so much, their wives came back and booked a trip by themselves with me. And they did good too. I think they did better than the guys did. But,
That seems like it's a common thing. Like I've heard that with several guests here, where
they do.
everyone says their wives do better. So you guys are cutting them too much slack, or
They always say
That's
beginner's
fair.
luck, but it happens constantly. So
So that's good to know. I guess that's one thing I've been doing wrong is I focus on the tournament instead of focus on having fun. And
and you don't take
usually-
your wife, so you got to take.
Yeah, true. Well, I gotta ask permission first to go. That's getting me prepared. Ask
Yeah,
permission
I mean,
to go to the tournament.
the group of guys, I mean, you're gonna have fun. I mean, it's not you argue. I mean, with those people that you argue with, it's
Don't take
usually you don't want to take them back. I mean, usually the guys you have your own group of guys that you fish with. They know, hey, we're gonna grind it out, grind
That's
it out.
I think that's the key also.
Yeah.
'Cause I know we've gone to some tournaments and there's some guys that kind of stop. I'm like, dude, I don't want to see that rod out of the water.
Yeah, no, most
You
of
know,
the guys,
it's like-
I mean, yeah, we get tired. I mean, but we grind it out. I mean, some are hangover. I'm a hangover, but I mean, they still grind it out. I mean, and I would tell you, it's not always, say, the winning fish is, I don't always catch it.
Yeah.
Somebody else catches it. I mean, it's
It's a team.
it's a team effort. It's not yourself. I mean, you're going to win. Oh, I caught the fish. I keep the money. No, it's a team effort. So everybody kind of
Yeah.
try to get. Yeah.
You actually covered a lot there, right there. So, but before we kind of start going down that rabbit hole or that path there, I'd like to maybe I can get a tip from Jr. So Jr. said he goes out the night before Friday trying to get croaker. So I mean, there's some probably process in getting that. They probably know you very well at all the places that sell croaker. But are there any special things that you do to keep the croaker alive for that period of time? We were picking them on Friday.
Just if you put them in the boat, we always leave the bait well cracked open, so because they can die on their own fumes if they're messing the water.
Okay.
That stuff stays in there. If there's not a place for it to get out,
Circulation?
they'll die.
And do you cycle the water through that at all? Not really.
We have the bubble systems on those boats, and we have real big rocks up there, big ones. Mayak has a real nice stone that they put in their live wells, and I've kept them alive 3 days.
Okay, it's easy to keep them alive with that. Just keep it cracked. All right, good deal.
Trying to remember that chemical. There's a chemical they release when they die
Yeah,
that causes the other ones to die.
yeah.
I can't remember what it is.
Yeah, putting your hands in there and all that too.
Yeah, that has a
Just
lot
try
to
to keep
do with
it from touching them.
Okay, so now so you prep Friday, Saturday morning. I mean, or obviously the captain's meeting is probably pretty
night
important
before.
as well too. So anything that you notice that changes between all the tournaments, or are all the captains' meetings pretty much the same?
There is a lot of tournaments lately have gone to instead of the 25-inch trout and the 28-inch red, they've gone down to the 21-inch trout and maybe a 22-inch red or 23-inch red. I agree with them a little bit, and because you're not killing so many big fish, because tournaments we kill a lot, and I say we because I include myself. We kill a lot of fish in tournaments. I wish we would have more live weigh-ins and release everything. That'd be better for all of us, but that's probably not going to happen down here. But when you go down to the 21-inch trout, they call them blackjack tournaments.
Yes.
It's 21-inch trout, 22-inch, 23-inch red, or 21-inch red. You're not killing the big fish. But like I said, you got 120 boats in the tournament, and everybody's if 80 of them weigh in, that's a lot of fish. That's a lot of dip.
Do you think that levels the playing field at all?
When it first started, I was like, man, I didn't like it. I'm out to catch we're gonna try to catch a 28-inch red and a 25-inch trout. That's, to me, that takes more skill than getting lucky and catching a 21 right on the money and the heaviest one, or an 18-inch trout, But it's whatever the tournament format is, we got to follow that. So yeah, some of those change, and then there's a lot of you guys weight a lot. Some tournaments have a rule where you have to be inside of the boat. If you drop off a waiter, you can't go too far. You've got to be able to see your boat. That changes things. That changes a lot because you cover less ground that way.
So you don't wait. You drift.
We
out-
do. I waited in that TIFF tournament. We waited, but we don't wait. I don't wait a lot. But I know some people that they'll drop off. I have a guy that Xavier goes with me. He does the waiting, and I'll drop him off and go back for him 5 hours later. But
Damn.
it changes things when we have to stay close to each other.
Right.
Yeah.
5 hours later.
Yeah.
Pobrecito.
He's enjoying it though. He's having the time of his life
Still
out
in the
there.
same spot.
Yeah.
You're talking about, I forgot my rod. I couldn't call you.
Yeah. So and then the other thing that happens Friday nights is your Calcuttas, right? So on Friday nights is when you guys, and so rule of thumb, you guys are always in the Calcuttas. You're always putting up money.
Is that where the money's at?
That's where the money's at.
Yeah, because most tournaments you don't get there isn't any monetary prize for winning a tournament, right? It's just strictly the Calcutta, right?
Calcutta, yeah. Well, some of the tournaments that we do, I mean, they do pay out, but most of where you want to get the money at, I mean, Calcutta is, you got to enter Calcutta.
Yeah.
Do you all do both, or like if they offer trout, red, and flounder, you all do all of them, or is it just specific? You all
I
do
usually go across the board.
across the board
Yeah.
for both of you.
We do also.
Nice.
I have a buddy of mine, he did BDS, and they caught I think it was a 9 pound red, and He was 28. He's like, they pre-fished the day before, and he's like, he pre-fished. He caught one catfish.
The day before.
Yes. So he's like, man, I don't want to do this, and they're good pounder, right? So they're like, oh, I'm not gonna go in the redfish. Sure enough, they went with the redfish. I don't know what the payout was, but I mean, they caught.
I mean, some of those payouts are, thousands of dollars, right? And it's just there's a lot of people that fish them, and it's just like, man, and it's like you say, you never know, right? You might just get lucky and catch that trout, especially if like the rules are, 21 or whatever these things are. You have a pretty different chance of doing that. So, you did say pre-fishing. So do both of you guys pre-fish a spot at all when you're fishing tournaments? I would imagine probably not so much here
Most
in
of
the
the
valley.
time, I mean, I usually, if I do pre-fish, like an area that I know that there's kind of holds fish, we call it, kind of run the shoreline. Not
Can you
too
specify
much,
on
kinda-
the area?
Yeah, show me on the map.
We kind of run the shoreline, kind of look.
I always try.
We have towers, and we kind of run through them, and we kind of drive around that area, and red, okay.
But you're not fishing it, right? You're
Not
just mostly,
really.
like,
I mean,
just
we
scouting it, really.
probably would hit it like maybe 5-10 minutes. Just say a top water or something. Oh, they hit it. Okay, they're gonna be aggressive, so we'll know tomorrow. Hey, we'll fish this area. And usually that's a good spot that we kind of know that holds up fish.
But you're not fishing it to catch fish, right?
No,
You're
not
fishing-
really.
just
No.
more just to,
And
just to
most of
say,
the time
hey, the fish are here.
we do catch them, we release them. I mean, there's like catch and release, and kind of that area we just kind of try to hit it a little bit, but kind of move away, and just try kind of side cast and no. But most of the time, I mean, we try not to kind of hit it up as much as you can.
How about you, JR? Do you pre-fish?
When we've had luck pre-fishing, we do horrible in the tournament. So I've tried to get away from it. I have a couple of tournaments where the customers will hire me the day before, and we'll go pre-fish, and I'll tell them I don't like pre-fishing. And this past one of the big tournaments last year, we pre-fished it, and by 8 o'clock we had all 3 fish.
Wow. Okay.
And the next day we were struggling to catch everything.
So the pre-fish day, you had all 3 fish.
we had-
And the tournament
8
day,
o'clock
for
we
the
had a
crickets.
3
happens like that sometimes, yeah.
flounder, we had a 7
That's all like me.
red, and a
I
big
caught them
trout.
all.
I pre-fish all the time.
I've heard some guys who actually pre-fish without hooks.
Really?
Yeah, they'll go and throw top water that's
I've heard a lot of
hookless.
people do that.
They'll throw
I've never
a
heard
plastic
that
without a
before.
hook.
They're
Just
just looking
to-
for fish. It's like they're spooking.
Just to see if there's any action, how aggressive are they fishing.
But they don't want to overstress the area so that
Exactly.
the fish are still there tomorrow and the following day. So it's all right. So you pre-fish, maybe not. So come before you guys leave that day to go fishing. I mean, typically it's a flat 4-man team. And so on both of y'all's 4-man teams, does everyone have a designated role per se?
You got a
Like
flounder guy, a red
I
guy.
usually do. I'm usually the redfish guy. Buddy of mine is redfish trout. Usually the area that we leave one for flounder, or 2 for flounder. But usually, I mean, we kind of try to want to catch the flounder first, but we kind of, if we catch one, we'll try to upgrade. Most of the time, I mean, we'll have 1 or 2, and we'll just kind of upgrade slowly, and then in the end, we usually try to upgrade our flounder. That's because that's.
But you
one of
start
the-
off with the flounder.
It's one of the fishes that is less caught most of the time. But I mean, we have guys that just specific for flounder, and
you guys do the same thing,
We
JR?
drop somebody off early for flounder.
Yeah.
And then I usually take the boat and go and try to get a trout. The red is the last thing we target. We usually go about 11 o'clock, try to get a red. They're biting in the middle of the day.
So flounder first, trout second, and then the flounder. Flounder, trout, and a red.
Flounder and trout at the same time if we have a waiter.
Okay.
So we'll leave someone and then we'll take off and go fish for some trout.
Okay, good. And the other, I guess one thing, like I went actually fished a tournament with Roy about we fished BDS a while ago, right? And so
2 years ago.
and so one thing that I reflect on that day a lot because first of all, it was one of the best fishing days I ever had, right? And not because I was with Roy, or maybe because I was Roy and Ruben, but the other thing was, we were on redfish, right? And we were on redfish hard, like every cast, like there was probably 60 fish schooled up in a little corner, and they weren't scared, like we'd walk right through them, and they'd move like 5 feet, and then like we'd cast right into them. We were literally catching them every cast, and we caught you know, one or two that were, you know, pretty nice tournament size, but kind of the one thing that says is like, you know, we probably could have had our choice there on the Calcutta, right? And so say we would have gone for the Calcutta, we maybe not have done the whole tournament. So I guess my question is, at what point does winning the tournament or winning the Calcutta outweigh, or does that ever go into y'all's mind?
To me, we're gonna fish, and if we don't have a fish, we're gonna fish till the very end.
Yeah.
I mean, if you know, if I'm at the mouth of that arroyo to get to the island, it's gonna take me 25 minutes to get there. We're gonna fish till to the end. If we already have the fish we need for the Calcutta, we'll spend a little bit of time to try to upgrade, a couple pounds or whatever. But if it's rare. We always make plans. I'm sure he feels the same way.
Yeah.
I want to be at the weigh-in by 11:30 with all 3 fish. I mean, that's the perfect plan, but it never happens that way. We always catch ourselves at 2:30 at the mouth of the arroyo, and we got to go all the way to Port Isabel to the weigh-in, and one more cast, and just until the end, And sometimes we'll hit one 5 minutes with 5 minutes left. We'll get a 28-inch red, and we'll just throw it in the box and go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess my question was more related to at what point does winning the Calcutta money, like saying I may not have a full weigh-in at the end, like if you're catching fish, a specific species of fish, and it's like, what, I'm more interested in winning the Calcutta versus even having a stringer to weigh in. Does that ever come to mind? Does it ever cross your mind, or is it mostly just like, no, we're gonna go?
No,
we're gonna try to catch her?
it just depends. I mean, you had a bad day or a good day. You kind of go with what you have, and your say a stringer, or you have, what, I already have just a red, and I mean that's all I have. That's all I'm gonna weigh in.
Okay.
It just time. I mean, it just depends on
Yeah,
time.
that's what it
It's
really
like you're not
comes
gonna push it, and you're like, no, well, am I gonna make it? You kind of want to know, I'm gonna make it, so I'll just weigh in my red. Or
Okay.
say, I mean,
Do you always weigh in? So let's say you have a red and a trout, but you don't think it's sufficient, but do you still weigh in?
I don't think there's anybody out there going to say that they always weigh in. I mean, you're going to have tournaments. I've had tournaments where we don't even weigh in because we know we don't have the fish to win. But if we have like a red that we know is going to place in the Calcutta, I guess to answer your question, we'll put stuff aside. Say, okay, you know what, we got to go. We're not going to take
Yeah.
a chance and beat
Yeah.
Nate.
Yeah.
This might win us a few $1,000s, so let's take off.
go.
Yeah, even if you don't have a full
Even
stringer,
if we don't
right?
have the trout.
I think a lot of tournaments don't even. I think there's only very few tournaments that need a full, set. No, I mean,
Well, the big money is in the stringer.
okay.
Yeah, they want
Grand
I
champ?
mean, Grand champ.
all 3.
And usually when you have all three and you're the grand champ, means you're taking the Calcuttas
You're
most
going
of the
to
time.
win at least one or two of the other ones.
That's what I've noticed in tournaments that I've gone to.
And so you said you mostly fish with these tournaments with your wife, and you guys have like the same fishing group that most of the time of your fishing tournaments, everybody kind of knows their role.
We've got guys. We've had teams before. And it's only been this last about a year and a half or so that we've been doing this, but we've had teams where it's like you said, you got to. Everybody's different. It's hard when you get on the boat to fish a tournament and you've got 4 different guys making 4 different suggestions. You got to have someone to say, okay, we agree on everything. You're going to get the flounder. I'm going to drop you off and get the trout, or whatever.
Yeah.
Just, if you're going to sit there and argue on the boat,
You lost.
Yeah,
You're
you
done.
have a game plan before
Yeah.
you don't show up, and this is what we're gonna do. You already have a game plan. You're going for flounder, you're going red, you're going for trout.
Yeah.
So
And these things are, for the most part, already known before you get
Yeah.
to the tournament, right?
Yeah.
Or like, let's say you're pre-fishing and says, hey, you know what? I want to focus on the trout, so drop me off to get a trout. That's something that happens where you have a guy in the boat.
it just
says, hey,
depends.
look,
I mean,
wanna focus on this.
we've had trouble with trout, so we're like, man, let's try to hit a trout first. We know where the flounder and the reds are. Let's try to get a trout. And I mean, sometimes we'll change it a little bit, and we'll just try to kind of target that fish and say, doesn't happen. You know what you're gonna go do? Go catch the flounder, go catch the red, and then worry about the trout later.
And I guess when you have like
Yeah.
bad days, I guess you would like sometimes you say like, yeah, we're not going to weigh in. We're just going to come out and have a good time. We're just going to fish the rest of the day, and everyone's we're just going to continue fishing and doing that. So now, so the other thing was like, so just in the mornings, like when you take off. I mean, I've seen like I've been to several tournaments, and like especially some of the big ones. There's hundreds of boats out there, and so like, what are things that you've seen out there in the mornings where kind of it can get a little bit chaos, and how do you stay safe when you're fishing in a tournament that's got 300-400 boats out there?
It's safety. Just remember safety. I mean, just know your surroundings when you're going, especially like shallow sport tournament, all those bigger tournaments. Kind of a shotgun safety. Yeah, you just
I think
kind
on
of
this year, I did the tournament this year. You did
Right.
it too.
Yeah,
and some
and that's
guy
what I was
fell
talking
off the
about,
boat.
yeah.
He fell off the boat during the takeoff. I was
Yeah,
pretty-
so there was
So
like there was everyone's lining up to kind of go through their numbers, but everyone's
Yeah.
trying to haul butt out of their spot. And so as soon as they read your number and give you the okay to go, you start hauling off. When one of these boats took off, and someone was up in the front and fell off of the boat in the water, and he had all these boats coming right behind him, and luckily, thank God, nothing happened to him. But it can be
Crazy.
pretty crazy to see things like that happen
You gotta
early
be
in the morning.
careful. Safety is the most important part about fishing. I mean, just safety for yourself, for everybody else. I mean, you don't want to be making stupid mistakes and kind of everybody partying and kind of drinking. I mean, you don't. I honestly don't fish people like that. I've seen
That's
it.
why he stopped taking me.
I know. I've
Just
seen.
teasing,
I've
I'm
seen
teasing.
people. I mean, they're already opening a beer. I mean, come on. I mean, you're here to fish. You're here to drink. I mean, it's
Especially on tournament day.
yes, especially on tournament days.
There's a lot of
It's
extra
just-
traffic out there. You got to be careful.
Yeah, and so you guys said. So I heard JR say like if you're fishing out of the island, you're fishing out of Arroyo. So that's still a good haul, right? So so when you're going that, and I know you fish out of Port Mansfield sometimes, even though you're launching out of the
Yeah.
island, that makes for a long haul. So is that usually the game plan? Like I'm going to start as far as I can and then work my way back.
Yeah,
So that's your
that's
closure?
how it's. Yeah.
Yeah. No, good deal. So, and
But
so
then, but then on a bad day, I mean, you find yourself south of Three Islands, and then all of a sudden you're at West Bay, and you still got to go back to the weigh-in. It just depends
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
on what you got in the box. I mean, it depends on what how you're doing that day.
And since you're doing it so often, you guys pretty much have it
Yeah.
timed,
Yeah.
right? I mean, y'all pretty much know
Yeah,
how much it's
yeah,
going to take.
how long does it take? I mean, we've done some tournaments. It's out of the island, but you can dock off anywhere. We've docked off at Port Mansfield. We've gone all the way to Gladys to fish over there, just because we kind of pre-fish that area. We know, hey, there's the holding fish. We've done that before, and then you just know, hey, the time, and you got to be by the dock a certain time, and you kind of in the mornings you say I was staying at the island. You kind of time yourself.
Yeah.
But how long does it take? I mean, now there's gonna be traffic. In the mornings, no traffic. So kind of you add a little bit, and then not just that. When you get to the island, the bridge, that's where you gotta wait.
So you're talking about like launching off port and then getting
Yeah.
your boat back on the trailer and then
Yeah.
driving back.
Yeah, and well, good thing I have boat storage there at Port Mansfield. So usually I'll put it in the boat storage, and then we'll just haul butt all the way to the island. I mean, we've done that. I mean, it's a long haul.
Chinga, bro.
That's hard.
Yeah,
That's hardcore
Yeah,
fishing.
you
but
have to really have a lot of
yeah,
faith in your
yes,
spots,
yeah.
right? Like where you're going and where the fish are. Like I know they're up there, but
So
man, that's
basically, if you do that and go to Gladys, you're staying in Gladys.
yeah,
yeah.
that or you're just staying on north shoreline stuff like that.
Damn.
Yeah.
That to me, it's hard to go to a weigh-in in a truck. We used to do it all the time, and with all the traffic on the island now,
Yeah, it's
on Saturday afternoons, the lines I've seen it back to the Stripes and Laguna Vista.
yeah.
And
You're
if
done.
you're
Yeah.
sitting there with an ice chest full of fish in the back of your truck, I mean, we stopped doing that. We don't do that anymore. We'll take the run all the way to the island, and if we need to, take a truck later or leave a truck over there on Friday night, we sometimes do that, and then we'll go on the boat all the way to the weigh-in. We don't want to take a chance of getting stuck in traffic, especially when you have a winning fish. You know you're going to do well. Just get on the boat. That's what we do. I mean, I don't think it's worth taking that chance.
So obviously, so the tournament is probably the big thing for that day, right? So fishing the tournament, but obviously there's things that go on the night before. There's things that go on the night of the tournament. So what are some of the tournaments? Does any of that matter to you guys when you guys are fishing tournaments, or do you guys are just saying like, no, it's a tournament, we're gonna go, and it doesn't matter like whatever the cause is or whatever it is, we're just gonna go out there to fish tournaments, or just other tournaments that you guys are more associated with that you enjoy fishing more because of the people that are putting them together or the cause?
I tell you, I fished the Mayak Owners this year for the first time. It's always been the same weekend as Ladies Kingfish, and we've always fished it with the wives. But this year we went over there, and they had a real good setup on Friday night. It was a real nice get together, and then Saturday, even afterwards, they gave away 2 brand new boats.
Oh,
That was
so
one of
that-
the purpose,
I
right?
mean, yeah.
giving away a boat. If anyone wants to have a good tournament, give
Yeah.
away a boat, and
I tell you what, though, they didn't sell raffle tickets. They didn't make it to where they were going to make money. Everybody that fished the tournament had 5 chances to win that boat.
Damn.
And every pound of fish that your team turned in had another chance. So if you had 9, we had, I think, we had a slow day. We had like 11 pounds, I think. So we had 5. We all had 16 chances to win the boat. All 4 people on our boat. So
You took 2 boats. You all went in 2 boats.
well, we went in ours, and Xavier Nota fished in theirs, and they took another.
Okay, so it was you and your wife on one
And
boat?
then my son fished it also, and another friend of ours fished it also. So, and one of the guys and a friend of ours, Martin, on the other boat, was there was 3 people left on the drawings, and the 2 of them were going to win a boat. So he was the third person.
Oh man, he was the first one out, the first loser.
He was the first loser of the 3.
Yeah,
But
man.
there was 10 up there.
Wow.
So they eliminated 7, and he was the third.
Wow.
There was 3 left, and they eliminated him.
What boat were they giving away?
They gave away that new M2, the
M2,
shorter.
right?
18?
18
yeah.
or 19.
Wow.
18 or
White
19.
one, right?
There was a white one, and there was a black one, I think.
Damn, that's freaking
It was
awesome.
nice.
I can't remember.
You have a
Somebody
Mayak
we know
too.
won it.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
Lure,
At
Yeah.
that tournament, the Mayak one.
yeah.
Uh,
I forgot who it was.
Yeah.
You have a Mayak too, right?
No, I had I sold it. I mean, when I fish, I have buddies, so hey, you can use my boat, or you can. And my uncle has a shallow stocker, and he was like, just take it whenever you want. So I'm gonna buy a boat. I told him I want to get a shallow sport or something. I said, don't buy a boat. He's like, it's there. He's like, whenever. He's like, when we fish, you fish with me. So I was like, okay. I was like, why get a boat? So yeah, I have buddies of mine. I mean, they know you. You drive the boat. I mean, it's most of the guys say in tournaments, we all know how to drive the boat.
Yep.
So
that's pretty important, though,
yeah.
right? Especially if people are getting off the
Yeah.
boat and waiting, it's important to
Yeah,
have.
he'll be like, hey, go pick him up. Yeah, I mean, we'll just go pick him up. I mean, everybody knows how to drive the boat, and that's the plus about, say, we know how to fish and we know how to drive the boat. So that's
But it's the thing about having that team, right? So
Yeah.
like you have a team, you can count on these other people for doing these different things.
Exactly what Ted had said that other podcast we had, and knowing somebody that can use your boat in case, say, you need to pick me up. How about you, Captain? You also let somebody who drive your boat?
Yeah, I usually stay on the boat, and I'll drop people off, and or we'll fish from the boat. We've got some holes that we fish that you can't wade. It's too deep to wade, and we'll stay on the boat, but we'll have people in the water. At least
You're what, 6'2"?
He can get in some deep water.
if
He
it's
can
too
wade
deep
in
for
some
him-
water. Yeah.
Yeah, if it's too deep for him, we definitely don't
So we
wanna
know
go
where
there.
you're fishing.
We
know
don't want
where-
that spot.
we don't want that spot.
You need 10-foot power poles.
Yeah. And how about you, Roy? Is there your favorite tournament, or kind of? I mean, you
No,
fished a lot.
I
of them.
mean, most of the tournaments, they're always, I say they're fundraiser or it's supporting something. I mean, I did some of the law enforcement for that state trooper that passed away. I mean, we did that one. I mean, all of them are benefiting something. So, I mean, if we think that we can help out, I mean,
And you're
we'll
gonna fish
it.
anyways,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, we're gonna fish either way.
Yep.
We know, hey, this weekend everybody's gonna be free. What's going on this weekend? We kind of look and see, and okay, and then it's a good thing we were fishing it and we're supporting some kind of benefit. So that's a plus on that.
And just, I mean, do you have a favorite tournament that you've been to? Looking back at any of them, where they're all
No, they're all different. They're all different tournaments. I mean, there's some like the blackjack, and then there's some of
Different
them
style,
that,
different-
styles.
Okay.
I mean, it just depends. I mean, it to us it doesn't matter. I mean, just the tournament. I mean, we'll fish. It's more of the guys being free the weekend and getting the guys.
well, maybe not so much even like the way it's that, but more just like the captain's dinner, the awards dinner, just like all in all that
Yeah.
you go out there. You even if you don't place, you're gonna go and have a good time and maybe win a boat or something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
So that's definitely adds to it. So I know, obviously, the Mayak one and Shallow Sport also has a boat. Does the Dargo tournament also have? Did they raffle off a boat?
I'm not sure.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. So definitely, if you want to have a successful or big tournament, definitely
I
raffle
know
off.
shallow stalker. No, Showwater. Showwater also does a boat giveaway.
I know one of the local ones. I love fishing every year just because of their prizes at the end. Again, we don't win it, but full pop.
That's
We do the
one
full
of
pop out of the
that's,
island.
that's actually my favorite.
Yeah, because they
you
give
do
you
have
like
a
4 or
favorite.
5 tickets. And
Well, yeah, because that one have different kind of rules. They have different.
yeah,
It's by length.
Yeah.
It's not by weight. So
By length?
by length.
So they take all the
Yeah,
length?
the length. Yeah. We did pretty good. I mean, we won with a sheephead. I mean, the sheephead we won. So it's kind of, I think it was close to 19, either flounder or sheephead.
Yeah.
Our sheephead was, or 21 or whatever. And our sheephead was, and we were the only sheephead that was weighed in, and we won it with a sheephead.
And then the trout, I think it's like between
Yeah, certain
18
length, yeah.
and
Full- I
19
forgot.
or 18, 19 and a half.
Full pop is a good.
And we love doing it because that's all I ever catch. Small ones. But on those days, we never catch them.
So you catch the smaller one.
Yes, I'm that guy.
Yeah. So you're like, yeah, this was a 15-inch trout
I like
tournament. Would
doing
be right on.
the tournament that I do all the time is at Valley Haven.
Yeah.
I like doing that
But
tournament.
what is it about the Valley Haven tournament that
It's they're for kids that are, they don't have parents.
Yeah,
or-
so it's your association with the cause,
Correct,
with
yeah,
the benefit,
that's
and
the
not
reason.
necessarily. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
not the tournament. It's not the
That-
not the tournament, but the cause behind the tournament. I really like.
yeah,
I
that's what
think
I'm
it's
saying. Like,
cool.
there's causes to it. There's tournaments that are just like Roy was saying. A lot of these tournaments have some sort of social or charitable aspect of them,
Yeah.
and a lot of the funding the registration fees, which it can be quite sizable. I mean, I will talk to you guys here in a little bit about that, but a lot of that money, the proceeds from that, go to that. So.
And just an update real quick. Jeff just messaged me. He dropped a deer. So they're trying to track it right now. He goes, if he can, he'll call in. If not, we're going to have to cancel it. But, yeah, that's an update on that real
So,
quick.
yeah, he was in a deer blind the last minute that we last spoke with him, so he's all like, "Shh, be really quiet." Be really quiet.
I want to talk something about boats, about motors. What do y'all think about having is a bigger motor or more power the better in a tournament?
Well, you always want to get there when you need to get there. I mean, I've got a Mayak. I just switched to the 25, and I've got a 300 on there, and it's nice to have that when you need it to get there. It's nice to have it. I don't run opened up all the way. I never, when I'm doing charters, I have a E-Tech, and it's very economical on fuel.
Yeah, I would imagine with a tournament because you're going to be running all over the place. You want something, not something that.
Tournaments, we fill it up all the way. I mean, it's a 60-gallon tank, and we have to run to Mansfield and back to the island and back to the Arroyo to get back home. It usually does well on one tank of gas, but
It's an advantage to have.
yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah, I
always
mean,
an
yeah,
advantage.
you don't want to be limited by the amount, how much land you can cover.
And the reason I bring that up, you said earlier, out of about 20 minutes from out of the mouth to the island. My boat's got a 115. It took me about an hour to get to the island. So I was just wondering,
20 to 25.
what are you
Yeah,
driving?
while you're driving, they're fishing.
Yeah, you were the one
And
going
then
by me.
By the time you catch fish, they're on their way back to you.
I saw the name Making Memories. So I was like, yeah, I probably not gonna win no more since you already got there. There goes my memories.
And there's a lot of boats out there that are faster, and I'm just that's what we need, and that's what we have now, and I really enjoy it. It's a nice boat, but they're all good.
I was with Ruben one time. Ruben and Leo, and he's got I think it's a 225 or something with a TRP.
Yeah, we run TRP on
And
that.
man, that thing was fast. That thing scared me. I was sitting on the front, and I was like, whoa, hey, bro, slow down, bro.
And you see these elite guys, like I like watching like the Elite Redfish series and all that stuff, and you see those guys, I mean, they go miles.
Oh, they're going fast.
And
Yeah.
they're covering extremely amount, of land, but that's what they use it for. They got to go from one spot. They're going from Texas to Louisiana, and doing that type of stuff.
Shoot, man. I think I like doing tournaments, but that's the disadvantage with me is my boat is a small boat, so I can't cover that much ground in the time that I need to.
And
But
you
I-
don't need a big. I mean, you can win a tournament with any boat.
Yeah.
You don't need to
In the
have
water.
a big old fancy boat. Just got to catch fish. I mean,
Yeah, no, me more just the
know,
time, knowing how to, how to make that time. It's gonna take me an hour to get here, so I need to make sure that I know what I'm doing. I'm still, trying to learn that
I've
myself.
seen you filleting fish at the dock.
Yeah, he catches a few fish too.
I charge to fillet fish. They're not mine. Yeah, fillet
I
fish,
got
bro.
some fish that you can fillet for me at the house. So. And then so we have Jeff here that's ready for us to give him a call here. So we'll get him here dialed in. But one of the questions I wanted to ask you guys both is so when you're out catching
Can I see
fish,
one of
does
these?
your actually let's talk about these here. So JR, you said you're fishing bait, you're taking croaker. Every time you're taking bait, every time you go fishing,
Just
tournament,
about. Just
every
about.
time.
If I have a charter where they want to throw lures all day, then we'll do it. I have a lot of Kelly Wigglers on board. Wayne's been I've been fortunate for Wayne took me on his pro staff, and I'll use them. I don't use them as much as I know he wants me to, but I will use them. And we've done well when the customer wants that. But if we're fishing a tournament, and I know you guys fish a lot of lures, but I don't know if it's safe to say this, maybe 8 out of 10 guys out there are probably fishing bait.
Yeah.
Because I mean it increases your chances to catch a big fish.
But anytime you're fishing a tournament, you're taking
we
bait.
fish. We always do.
And how about you, Roy? Do you guys take
We-
bait when you're taking
We
fishing
get
tournaments?
bait, but our fish are usually caught on lures. Most of the time, I mean, we will buy 2 or 3 dozen of croaker, and I mean, we don't even use it. I mean, most of the time we're throwing artificial. I mean, one of the biggest is gulp. I mean, that's one of the easier. I mean, they'll lie to me, AM lures, and no, you're throwing gulp. I'm like, yeah.
I've seen you.
So, so it's. I mean, it just depends on what it's confidence. I mean,
Yeah.
I throw gulp, and I mean Kelly's are my other one, and those are just confidence. I mean,
What about casting net? You don't throw that?
So JR's going to show us here how he rigs up his
What
croaker
are
net.
these?
These are bait. These are called bait bangers. A guy named Byron Phillips makes these. Phillips Tackle. Another guy out of Port Isabel showed me these a couple years ago, and I called Byron and said I was interested in trying them out. So he sent me some, and I tried them, and it's a little chatterweight. I mean, they sell the smaller ones at Academy. These very few places have them here. I think Joe's
Look like
Hook, Line, and Sinker's got it. Chris over here in McAllen has them there at Full Stringer. Is it
Yes.
Full Stringer?
Yeah, these are pretty heavy, like that, and they're loud. Like this one thing, like you guys can hear them, like they're loud.
These have 10 stainless steel bearings inside, and they don't float. They sink. You tie your main line on the barrel swivel on top so that it doesn't get twisted. And I usually get I usually use 30-pound leader, and he says that the closer you keep it to the banger, the better, because it's going to make the noise. You don't want your croaker a foot and a half back. You know, we usually do 10 to 12 inches behind the croaker. With a number 5, depending on where we're fishing, 5 to 7 croaker hook. And I've got some in my truck. I should have got them down with me to show you. They're just beat up. I mean, the
Yeah.
trout
I use these. They make a smaller version.
They make a smaller one.
Yeah.
These are the fat bottoms that he just started making last summer. And
The trout is gonna attack
the
that.
trout attack this.
He's gonna attack that first, and then the
Yeah.
croaker.
They hit it, and there's times where I'll feel the croaker get taken off the hook, and I'll be bringing it in, and then it'll just get hit, and I'm like, yeah, no, there's no bait on there, and it's got teeth marks all over this.
So
Put a hook on it.
Yeah.
that's the next step.
We've tried it, but then your line gets all tangled up.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Are they glass?
No, it's plastic.
Plastic.
Yeah. It's
All
a
right.
hard plastic.
Well, there's a tip there, guys. So JR told us how to keep our croaker alive, how to rig them up for fishing
1
tournaments.
foot, right?
1
I
foot,
mean,
12
10
inches.
10 to 12
Yep.
inches, and then we hook them in the tail.
Yep.
We hook them in the tail because if you hook them in the head, they die faster. And then, of course, the biggest thing with croaker fishing, and I get this with my customers a lot, they want to treat it as a lure, and it's not a lure. You can't be bringing it in, and especially when we hook it on the tail, you bring it in backwards. So all that water is going through their gills, and you're going to drown the fish. You're going to kill the fish. So you want to let it sit and pop it. Just let it make a little bit of noise and let it sit there, and be patient. I mean, I've had to tell guys all day long, hey, stop breathing it in. Stop breathing it in. It's not a lure. You can't treat it like a lure. If you want to do it like a lure, I'll turn around, put it on the head, hook it through the lip, and you can bring it in, and it'll come. That's a natural
Toward you,
way.
yeah.
It'll come towards you,
Yep.
and it won't die as fast.
Is the success rate of catching the same whether it's tail or head?
I have more success in the tail.
Tail.
Good deal.
I do have a buddy that does nothing but head, and he catches a lot of fish. He hooks them all in the lip, and he does real well.
When y'all use croaker, do y'all use something like this, or y'all just go straight?
Actually use what are the other ones?
The chatter.
The Chatterjee, yeah.
Yeah.
The Chatter weights.
Good deal. So another tip, guys. So apparently, I mean, these are pretty common. These are pretty. I mean, if Roy and JR are doing them, then they got to be working. So it's
They're
definitely
winning tournaments, so
winning tournaments.
it's worth a try.
Is Jeff ready for us?
Yeah, let's segment into it real quick. And the only reason I say that is because Jeff Austin, if y'all don't know who he is actually the tournament director for a lot of the tournaments up in Corpus. He actually owns GCTA. So he runs, one of the major ones that he runs is a Rudy's Redfish series. So, I mean, we wanted to get him in because we wanted to get the aspect of the tournament fisherman compared to the aspect of the guy running it, you know, and I think his knowledge and how long he's been doing it is going to, you know, hopefully enlighten us a little bit. But let me give him a call, see if he answers. Should. Yeah.
Pretty loud.
Yeah, make a lot of noise.
Hello.
Color
I
on
got
it
you,
is
Bo.
anything. It's just-
There's a different color.
Can you hear me good, Fabian?
One also.
But it's just for color. It doesn't.
They're the same. I mean, the bites will be the same.
Hey, Jeff.
Yes, sir.
Hold on real quick. It's not hooked onto the.
Yeah,
No,
I
I
can hear.
can't.
I can hear.
I hear him on my speaker.
I heard him here.
Hey, let me put it on my speaker.
No, I think you need to take it off your speaker.
Yeah, we can hear.
Yeah, let me.
It is.
I think your phone. Just turn up the volume on it. Just so. Take it off speaker.
It is.
Okay. Jeff, can you hear us?
I could hear you better when you had it on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me go ahead and
speaker.
put it on speaker. Sam.
Say hello. Okay. Well, we had tried it here a little while ago. And it
Can
was
you hear us now?
You there, Jeff?
It's still not coming through, huh?
That's cool. We'll do it through here. It sounded pretty good.
Check 1, 2. Check
you go.
1, 2. Check.
Yeah.
Check.
Can you hear us,
yeah.
Mr. Jeff?
Yeah, huh?
Yeah, we'll just go ahead and run it like this. That sounds pretty good. All right, Jeff. So you're on, man. I just segmented into it, and the way we did it was we got the perspective of these two guys that are local tournament fishermen and have done pretty well. One of them actually fished at the MIAC tournament up there in Corpus. So we got their perspective of tournament fishing. And now the reason we wanted to call you in is we wanted to get your perspective on the actually organizer, the actually one who runs the tournament. And I know you run GCTA. So we're going to segment right into it. And the first question I'm going to ask you, man, is first and foremost, what makes a well-run tournament, in your opinion?
First of all, Fabian, I think that every single angler has to be treated exactly the same. It doesn't matter if you're a sponsor team or this team. Everybody has to have the same fair shot at winning that tournament or don't even have it. That's why where I stick my backbone to, you know, even the guy that wants to come in and just start, he still has the same exact chance as that guy that always wins.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? No favoritism at all. I treat everybody the same way, my crew. It's just you have to treat everybody the same way. And then your software, of course, to back you up. And, you know, it's a whole bunch of things, Fabian, but first and foremost is you have to treat everybody exactly the same.
Yeah, and I'll testify to that because I know there's been guys call you, you know, well, I'm here at the bridge and I'm 5 minutes away, and you tell them straight out, you know, you don't make it here by a certain time, you're done.
We don't bend the rules, Fabian, and that's why it made us. I mean, we were just talking about the other day, Fabian, Rudy's Barbecue. They're one of our sponsors. They've been our sponsor for, I want to say, 9 years now, dude.
Yeah.
And to keep them happy, it's the integrity of the series and treating everybody exactly the same. You know, I don't care if it's my best friend Kevin Shaw coming through, and I've done this already. You know, he's coming through his thing thinking that he might be able to bump a fish. They're walking a thinner line than the average angler. So everybody is treated the same. And then that hands-off system, Fabian, as you know it,
Yes, sir.
there is no ifs, ands, or buts. There is no human error. There is no manipulation of the tail. I could squeeze a tail or make a tail, you know, short just by squeezing it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So with the hands-off system we use on measuring those fish, Fabian, that is another thing that gives it integrity.
So
and
what
backbone.
exactly-
Everybody's fish are going on that board the same exact way, getting the 3-inch pincher going to the same spot. Everybody the same exact. So got a lot to do with treating everybody right, man.
Okay.
And then
Talk about how we actually measure the fish.
Hands-on.
So what exactly is the hands-on or hands-off?
So when you say the hands-off, what exactly do you mean by that, Jeff?
Okay, Fabian, I've got, you know, my slant board is a very minor slant, 4 inches, the highest point on my board, to a 2-inch quarter and to 0. It's just enough slant to give that fish, and it's a fixed board. There is no movement, no hinges, just enough. When you have that board wet, you put that redfish belly to belly with you and the bump man, and it slides nose first all the way down the corner, and then where the anything like that. It is a hands-off system. It has worked very good for us with people fishing for over $80,000 a tournament.
I think that's really important because I've seen people where they go out and the way they measure their fish, and it's within or whatever, and then when they go on to get it weighed in, then their client, it's weight. It measures differently, right?
Yeah.
It didn't make the cut or it was over.
Yeah, and I think the way you do it, Jeff, I think everybody going into the tournament knows exactly the way you're weighing it in. And I think that keeps the integrity of it because they know doesn't matter what we do out there on the boat and put it in our, on our, whatever, I forgot the name of the board, our check-in stick, it has to go based on what you're doing. So, I mean,
Sure.
obviously that makes a big deal.
And Fabian, we let everybody check their board to our board. We
Yes,
tell
sir.
them, I don't care what your board says, this board is the one that's going to kick your fish out of the tournament. So, again, it goes to that. We're being fair to everybody, letting them know if they want to pull their board out there. And then you'll have some of the anglers that are hardcore and they're worried about it because that 1/8 inch is going to matter, Papa.
Yeah.
If you get up there and it's that close and you had it too short, well, then your game's out. I've had them try and bring me their board and wait, look at this. I don't care on your board. This is the board.
Yeah.
Same board we've used for 5 years. This is the board, buddy. So, I mean, it's a lot to it, Fabian, but you just have to treat everybody fair, equally. The hands-off system, that's anybody, Texas Parks and Wildlife. If they're going to weigh your fish and measure it at a tournament, if you acquire their services and they do it, of course, they're going to make your fish as long as they can.
Yeah.
As long as they can.
So,
You know what I mean? And then they're going to bend it, stretch it. If it's a dead fish tournament, they're going to bend it, stretch it, make it as loose as can be, and then they'll squeeze that tail as much as they can. With ours, everybody gets the same to that pincher, and then fire. You know what I'm saying? And then we give them 3 tries. Okay, if their fish is over, Fabian, and you've seen it happen, we give them 3 tries. We'll let the fish rest back in the live well again, pick it up. Saul, he'll bump it. If it does it one more time, we're going to let you come around and say, look, dude. And I have never had a problem with people's fish bump, handling that way. Look, how are you going to make this fish fit? But, we wait for his mouth to close for you. We did all this. The gills aren't flared. I'm going to it. And every one of them says, yeah, you're right, it's over. And they knew it. They know they're coming in close to bumping that line. You know what I'm saying? It's part of the game.
The Rode mic on there. Can you change the source on yours?
Hold on real quick, Jeff. Hold on.
Yeah, I guess my question. I was going to turn the question over here to Jeff or to our to. There we go. Can you hear us, Jeff?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear. 2 by
Okay.
10.
All right, sorry about that. Yeah, so I've got JR and Roy here, and I was going to ask them, what are some things that they do when they're you're out, you catch a fish, and what if it's, let's say 28, it's on the redfish, what point do you say, yeah, I can take this fish and it'll shrink down, or what are your guys' thoughts on those fish that are right at the border?
Down here, a lot of the weighmasters, they use the check-it stick. So we make sure we have a check-it stick. There's different kinds of sticks. And we use the same one. And if it's over a little, we don't even. If it's a 1/16 of an inch over, barely flaring over, we won't weigh it in. It's not worth it because if you have a trout that's going to win the tournament for you, they DQ the whole boat. You're going to lose money on that trout. So if it's on or barely under, then we feel confident about it. Then we'll put it on the table. If not, we're not going to put it on the table.
But typically, I mean, like if you put the fish on ice, if it's a dead fish tournament, and then you put it out there, it's going to shrink a little bit.
Shrink a little, but
But it's not. I mean, it's not going to shrink a 1/16, or you just kind of. So when you're out there weighing it when it's fresh, you're looking for 28 or on a redfish or just right at that, and then you'll bring in something a little bit less, or if
you catch a 27 7/8, it weighs 9 pounds. You have nothing to worry about.
yeah. So when the other guy
you're in
catches
the money right there.
Right.
Now, but it's tough though when you have one that's flaring over.
Yeah.
You can't rely on it shrinking because, like Jeff said, they're gonna squeeze that tail. They're gonna push on it and get it down. And if it's over,
yeah, I think that's really good because I've seen people. I fished a shallow sport tournament this past year, and I saw a big redfish that came in, and it was right over 28, right, and it was based on the way the fish was measured on the boat versus right the way the Texas Parks and Wildlife weighed it, and it was right over, and it was being contested back and forth, and at the end of the day, the Texas Park and Wildlife said, no, this is how we're going to weigh it. But I think it's important to understand exactly how the fish is going to be measured and weighed so that you can prevent these kind of things from happening. So
I think on that note that he said contested, that's the next question I'm going to ask you, Jeff. And luckily I've been there and I've seen the way you handled it, but I'd like people to hear. But How would you handle a protest? If a protest does come in.
Okay. You're going to hit me on touchy subject here. But anyway, I'll go
Hey,
for
Jeff,
it,
before
brother.
you answer that
So,
question,
you
Jeff,
know,
can you hear me?
Yeah.
Jeff, before you
Yes,
answer that
sir.
question, so you can maybe relax a little bit, did you find that deer or not?
yeah, they're cleaning it right now. Yeah, they're cleaning it right now.
So the deer is like, it's time to clear the deer. Hey, I gotta get on the podcast.
Nice 150, nice 150, 10
Nice.
pointers.
Nice.
Really?
So, you guys, here's I've had 2 protests for my first time after doing this for 6 years. I never had a protest because I'm very serious about my rules, and if they know there's any cheating, Texas state law, if you're fishing for this kind of money and you cheat, you're going to jail. I'm going to fully prosecute as a tournament director. If you come in and lawfully cheat in my tournament and pass, fail, get called out or whatever. So I've had some happen. And I look at both sides before I make any decision. Of course, I have some Texas Parks and Wildlife buddies who I refer to on questions that come up about laws and rules, and their word is gold. So, having them on the committee, and then I call my committee members, and I'll tell you, I always call Kevin Akins. I grew up with him. He is one of the most winning redfish money tournament guys there is, and ask him and Kevin Shaw their opinions. Now, Fabian, since you're asking, how your deal was handled, the rules were misunderstood. The rules to the law, how it reads about lighting a boat.
Correct.
So I looked at the rules and went and read it, and then I made a decision based on that. So I don't throw anybody under the bus in our protest. I had to look at both sides of the story because there is always 2 sides to each story.
Yes, sir.
Now, any information you guys, and this is one thing about that social media and the world that is so ugly, any information that is taken from an angler that let's say Fabian, you took a polygraph and you failed. I cannot go out and tell anybody that. It is a very, very touchy deal. That is a privacy act. You are the only one that has authority for those rights for that polygraph test to go out in public.
Correct.
So when somebody fails a tournament, a polygraph or whatever, and they start blasting their name all over this social media, Fabian, and all this has just gotten so bad on knocking people because, again, there is 2 sides to every story. On a polygraph, it's a polygraph. They ask you questions, they take a baseline, and you have to make a decision. I've never had, except for one poly that's been not passed. And I handled that situation straight. Yeah. But, every time and we do polys, every one of our pro series and our one-day stuff. So and the polygraphs, we use them. We're very good with them. You know how I do it. We're sponsored by beer. So when you come off my stage, I want you drinking our beer. This year was Andrew. This next year. So we let them think about it. And those guys have cheated. And something comes to light in me, and that window that I give them a week before they go take their polygraph, it eats away at them, dude. You know what I mean? If they did something, got you bad, it eats away at them. So the system we do it by, if you win a tournament, we don't give you your money till you pass your polygraph test, and when you pass your polygraph test, then we do it. I've only had one problem in 8 years with that.
Yeah, the reason
No.
I brought that up because again, I believe it was handled very, very well. And like you said, you did take both sides. You didn't do anything that swayed anybody. You didn't. It was very, very handled very professionally.
Nobody's business. Nobody's
Exactly.
business except for the parties involved.
And I think the other thing that, and Fabian told me a little bit about it, not that we have to cover it here, but the other thing is that, you touched on at the beginning was that you treat everybody with the same way, right? That everybody's going to get treated. It doesn't matter if it's me this is my first tournament fishing out there, or it's someone that's sponsored by the tournament itself. Is that
Sure.
Everyone's going to get the same due diligence and the same process along it, so.
That's what we try and do in this kayaking world. We've got a bunch of love out of our kayakers, and they like what we're doing. So we're very excited about 2020. We've got some trout tournaments coming up. The kayak stuff is really cool, man. The guys work real hard for what they do, man, and they've earned my respect. Let me tell you that after messing with them for the last year and a half, man. Kudos and hats off. Hey, and straight up, facts are facts. You can pull up all the history of my weigh-ins on my one-day stuff, and 80% of the time, the kayakers has the biggest weight, the biggest fish of that day, because they both weigh in on Saturdays. And I'm just being honest, man.
Yeah, I think we need
The
to start
kayakers
selling
are
kayaks
fraud.
now. So.
I think I made a mistake
but
with my
yeah.
kayaks.
And
I had to get thick skin, Fabian. I had to get thick skin, okay? I used to wear my feelings on my shirt when somebody said something about me or, this, that, the other. And my wife, God bless her, Bridget Austin, she told me, look, Jeff, You're doing more than just being the guide. You're doing this. You're doing this with the kids. You're doing all this. So you're going to have people that don't care for you and whatever. And it's the lazy guys that are sitting there watching crows fall off the fence, drinking beers. And I could care
Hey,
less.
what's wrong with
I'm dude. I don't have a problem with it at all.
It was a joke. We're sitting here.
I'm not going to be able to be a guide all my life. So the tournament thing has been a blessing to us, and what we've created with our kids stuff, and working with Shimano Pen, working with the whole place, man. I mean, we have a lot going on, and Fabian, you've always been a big part of us, and we love you guys to death down there. I love what you guys are doing on the podcast, and if you want to learn, if you want to be broke, go start you a tournament series. I'll just tell you that right now.
Hey, and on that note, I mean, what makes a successful run tournament? What I mean by that is, people look forward to the Rudy's Redfish series. People look forward to the Yak Attack, but they look forward to it. Like, what causes them to come back?
Fabian, the money's right. Okay, you can sit there in line while you're saying, okay, he said he's got 43 people there, 43 times 500. We got $26,000 on the table. So Jeff's going to keep probably 12%. Okay, there's no other tournaments that do that. Okay, they'll go to 30 and 40% of your entry money. So we take a small percentage of their entry money and leave big money on the table. And then with Roy's and the people sponsoring us, bringing the prizes and the stuff, we're way over on our kayak stuff, paying over 150% out of their entries. Baby, and you've been there. You see what we do, man. I mean, I don't even think we've taken any money off the top of the kayak series because we want it to be successful. And they're eating Rudy's barbecue and they're having a good time. And you see everybody breaking bread together. The families are out there. I don't like little circles over here and little circles over here. I want everybody together, man. We have one same interest, and that's a fishing pole in our hand, baby.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Wow, that's awesome.
The bottom line here, and we're blessed. Look at us, we're fishing. You know what I mean? Look at what everybody else is. You know what I mean? Look what y'all are doing right now. Your store, your everything you're doing with your fly fishing and passing on knowledge. I kind of want to leave an impression here.
Yes, sir.
We're not going to be here. When I do leave, I want everybody like, man, Jeff was a pretty nice guy. He ran a good series and, helped out the kids and did all this stuff. So I take every day as a blessing, you guys.
And he killed a deer.
Yeah, on top of it.
I'll send you pictures nowadays. It's up there right now hanging. What are you talking about? Y'all have any other questions, guys?
I don't know. I don't have any more questions.
I think we're pretty good, man. I just wanted to get your perspective on that. First of all, or lastly, I guess, thank you so much for giving us that time, man. I know you're a busy guy. I appreciate everything you're doing, man.
My pleasure. You guys are killing it with what y'all are doing, man. Fabian, what you got going on in the valley, it's bringing light to everything. I love it. Like I said, we've been together for a long time, man. We got a trout tournament coming up this weekend at Bluff Landing Marina, $300 entry. Going to be a big payout. Christmas party, Christmas bazaar, live music. So anybody's in the neighborhood, come down to Bluff Landing this weekend. It's going to be beautiful weather. Come see us, and God bless each and every one of y'all. Happy holidays.
Appreciate you, buddy.
Likewise.
Have a good one.
Thank you.
Yeah, have a blessed one, guys.
All right, thanks a lot. All right. Oh, that was a good, definitely, good perspective, right? A lot of times we just show up or we fish the tournaments, but there's a lot of work that goes into prepping it and doing it. I know some of the guys that have put together and helped organize these tournaments is a lot of work, right? And sometimes we take that for granted, as well as we touched on it earlier. A lot of these tournaments are going to support a cause, right? And so one thing I just thought about right now is trying to get Jeff's estimate of what it costs to operate a tournament. But at the end of the day,
you said you'll go broke.
Yeah, so
I heard
you're
that.
not making a lot of money or any money, right? A lot of these things are done as fundraisers, and all proceeds are donated to the cause. And there's a lot of them. There's the list goes on and on.
Yeah.
It's just like every weekend here in South Texas, there's 2 or 3 different tournaments, and sometimes they're at the same city. Sometimes there's a tournament at Port Mansfield, Arroyo, and South Padre, and so there's definitely a lot, and which kind of there's maybe overstressing the area, right? There's a lot of people fishing those, a lot of traffic out there, a lot of boats. The area is getting fished hard. Yeah. All across, the lower Laguna Madre from Gladys Hole all the way down to South Bay, right? Just on one day. So I guess one last thing is we talked about you mentioned it too. Like we kill a lot of fish during these tournaments, and so how does that come into play when you're going out there fishing? I mean, I mean, does that change at all your mindset? Like if you catch something that's smaller than what you already have on boat, do you let them go, or do you release them, or do you?
We throw a lot of fish back, but when this summer I was blessed with, I had quite a few charters, and especially you have a charter, you don't take any fish home. So my tournaments were the only chance I had to take fish home. So I kept some fish this summer, kept quite a bit, but that was the only chance I had. Now I'd fish, 12 days and keep fish one day.
So on a charter, you can't keep the captain can't keep.
If the customer wants to give me their fish, we can take it, but we can't bring in our
Can you
our
still
limit.
fish?
No, they fish. They
captains
fish,
can't
We
fish?
can help them out and stuff, but we're not allowed to keep a limit for ourselves. What I'm talking about is at the end of the day, when I fillet their fish,
Okay.
they're taking all the fillets. I've had some customers say, you know what, I've got fish at home, take half, and that doesn't happen very often. So I guess to answer Sam's question is we don't, tournaments, if we're catching and we're on fish, we're going to keep
Yep.
what we want, what we need, and we'll throw the rest back.
I mean, I wasn't saying. So I think a few weeks ago we did a podcast with Wayne and with Ernest here. We're talking about conservation, and I think it got taken out of context a little bit by some of the comments and the responses we saw out there, or I saw. But we're definitely not saying that it's a bad thing to take fish home. Right? I think the mindset is if I have a freezer full of fish already, then maybe I don't need to take this fish home. By no means we all. I mean, I've got a cooler at home right now full of fish right now, and because we went fishing yesterday.
Snapper?
Yeah, snapper.
I can take some off
Yeah,
your
well,
hand.
yeah. If anyone else wants some snapper, add it in the comments, and maybe so Victor.
Snapper giveaway?
Snapper giveaway. No, I can't do that, but anyways, yeah, the idea around it isn't that we have to catch and release everything. It's more just having this cautious mindset in there that hey. I don't have fish or whatever, or my grandpa or my tío or my uncle would love a fresh fish out there.
And I get what JR's saying. Like you said, he doesn't. When he's out fishing, chartering, he's not keeping fish. So when he does a tournament, it's his turn.
Yeah, absolutely.
But what about you, Roy? You're out there.
mean,
Is it like, hey, I'm gonna put as much fish as I can, or I'm gonna look for those fish for the tournament?
Sometimes we do get selfish. I mean, we catch limits and stuff like that. But most of the time, I mean, I have somebody wants fish.
Right.
I usually have it back in my mind. Oh, okay, I'll take some fish for somebody. Yeah. But I mean, I'm guilty. I mean, some of the times you have too much fish and you're like, man, sometimes you're like, just let it go. I mean, most of the time, flounder are the ones that we kind of keep.
Yeah, you don't catch those.
Yeah, flounder usually we have. Oh, we're gonna keep these and then we'll start giving them. Yeah, so.
But do you think it'll deter or it'll change the amount of participants in a tournament that it is live weighting?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. I mean, what needs to be done, I would like it would be like live weigh-ins. That's something that I was thinking of even hosting something, kind of doing every year, kind of doing a live weigh-in, kind of going to that route. Hopefully, other tournaments will kind of benefit by that by thinking. I mean, I know it's a lot to do, but conservation would be.
We fished at Redfish Rodeo this past summer, and DJ Warnicki put that tournament on last year, and he was giving tickets for a drawing for every live fish that you brought in. So we took in some reds, and we got our name.
And you released it.
Yeah.
And he released. They had little dock workers out there releasing them back into the bay, and we actually got lucky and won some of the door prizes. So I mean, that's an incentive, to keep your fish alive. And but it's tough if you're going to do it with everybody. Trout are hard to keep alive.
Yeah.
In any live well.
I think that's why. I mean, and the reason I bring it up because again, I've been involved with Jeff for about 2 to 3 years now, and I love seeing those tournaments because everybody brings in. But again, like you said, and most of the tournaments that he does are 2 redfish, and so they bring in those 2 redfish. They bring them in alive most of the time, and again, it's usually near a dock and so forth. So these fish get released, and I do the calculations in my head with some of these tournaments that are down here that are bringing in 200, 250 boats times 2 or 3 per angler. That's a lot of fish taken out of the bay, and I'm gonna
in one day.
In one day, and I mean, I don't know how hard it is. I don't know a boat. I don't know how hard it is to keep it alive in the boat and bring it in alive. But I don't know if that would deter people from entering these tournaments.
Reds will stay alive all day.
Yeah, most of ours. I mean, usually what we're gonna kind of weigh in, we keep it in live well. We know that's our fish that we're gonna weigh in. We are not there last minute, kind of looking for what we're gonna weigh in. usually everything, and usually they're alive. I mean, it's the trout is usually die on you, but our redfish, usually say the last tournament we did, it was a 21 blackjack, and then we had like 2 or 3 reds, and man, all those 2 or 3 reds, we released them. I mean, they're still alive. Might as well. I want to keep them. We have fish, so we just released them. Yeah. I mean, most of the time, our fish that are going to be weighed in are in the live one. So whatever's live, usually we do release them.
So
Awesome.
is that a tip saying that a live fish weighs more than a dead fish?
No, it's just knowing us. I mean, ourselves. I mean, and usually, I mean, say we do have something 28. I mean, it goes in. We know it's gonna be in the ice and stuff. But I mean, anything. Say those smaller tournaments, 20 blackjack stuff like that. We know like, hey, they're 21, they're close, and we just kind of keep them in the live well, just so we'll know what we have. We just kind of separate them.
Okay.
I mean, that's the way. You don't want to leave them in the sun and just a lot of people. I've seen it. They leave them in a stringer, and they'll go in and they'll jump in the water with the stringer, and then I mean,
Yeah.
actually the fish spoils.
Yeah, it does.
So
One thing I like to do with my charters is if they catch a 27, 28-inch trout, I'll ask them if they're going to mount it. And if they're not going to mount it, I'll try to convince them to throw it back. You know, put that fish back in. That's the ones we want.
Yeah, we could put them on with the program. What was the program? The guys that send the stickers.
Oh, the
Speckled Truth.
Speckled Truth.
Speckled Truth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I caught a 28.5, and I released it forcefully. I was forced to release it by the other guy that was with me.
They cut your line.
He didn't force me. He had caught a 30-inch trout with me, and he released it. So when I caught the 20.5, he was looking at me like, "You got to release that." And I was like, "Okay." So I released it, but it was cool. I mean, it was
Stringer.
nice seeing it go away, and then they sent me a sticker from. So I have it on my boat, all proud in it.
I think you're in the right track, you know, of possibly running a tournament in the future and doing the live way and doing it that way, you know, to kind of bring that down, because I do notice that. I mean, down here there's not many live ways. I think they're coming up though. I think there's 2 or 3 down here that just opened up maybe 2 years ago that are doing the whole live way and the polygraphing and all that stuff.
I
know.
can tell everybody. I mean, you're guilty for it. I mean,
Of course.
you're say limits.
Yeah.
So
Hashtag-
you're out there and
hashtag
you're like,
limits.
you're like out there and you have your show all the fish on the boat.
Yeah.
I mean, bragging rights, like
I mean, we did
everybody,
it
it's
yesterday,
bragging
right?
rights.
Yeah,
It's
so-
just bragging rights. You
This
want to
Sunday-
show what you caught. I mean,
This Sunday I released all my fish, all the fish I didn't cook.
Yeah, anything you didn't
yeah.
catch
So
properly,
it's more like, I mean, it's. I feel guilty for it. I mean, people
Again,
tell
like-
me, I'll have a stringer. We'll have or say, I mean, we'll go and we'll toss the stringer on the boat and stuff like that. I mean, just it looks nice. I mean, it shows that okay, you caught fish, right? But I mean, you're killing fish.
Yeah.
I mean,
So the message was definitely not to try to guilt people. It's more
No.
just trying to have some cautions around it, right? Like, hey, is this fish? You know, is this going to go into another bag that I have in my freezer full of fish? So I have 30 pounds of fish back home fillets already, or and maybe you do, right? But you're. Again, I always think whenever I catch fish, the few times that I do, it goes by fast, right? By the time I get back to the dock, like, this is for my grandpa, this is for my deer, this is for this, right? Every fish, and I'm lucky to even take. I don't want to say lucky. Sometimes I don't even take any of that fish home, right? And it's just like I'm going out there and we caught a lot of fish, but I'm not gonna eat it because someone else will enjoy it. But my personal thing
most of the time, I'm when the fillets it, and I just give it up.
yeah.
I mean,
Next
I'll
time you
fillet
go,
for
next
him.
time you have some fish, then
I'll
let me.
I'll give it a.
Let Sam's
say,
grandpa
like,
know he loves
Yeah,
it.
The
don't
group
tell
of
my
guys
grandpa.
that we fish with.
He'll ask
I
you
have a
where
buddy
the
of mine
head
that
is.
does a fillet, so
Grandpa's
he's just standing there and stuff like that. And I was just like, hey, take it, man. I have enough fish. I have fish from last week or whatever, and I just let him. Yeah. So,
Sam's grandpa, I was at the shop and the other shop, and he was there, and he's like, "Hey, you like to fish?" I said, "Yeah." "You catch fish?" "Yeah." "Bring me some." So I took him some, and then the next day I went back, and he had already eaten all the fish. He's like, "Hey, bring me more. I already ate them all." I was like,
He eats
"Damn."
some like my grandpa literally like he'll fillet the fish in or he doesn't fillet he eats them whole, and if he does fillet he takes that and then he uses the head to make soup and he does that, but he eats it that same day. He likes fresh fish, but
Yes, he asked me for non-fillet.
yeah, with the head. But anyways, so I think we learned a lot about tournament fishing. It seems like there's a lot to it. Obviously, there's a lot of prep work that goes into it. You got to go in there with a strategy. You got to go in with the right people. Not to say you have to do all that, but if you do that, you're going to increase your chances of success. The tournaments that I fished, the last ones I fished, it's more of just kind of being out there. I mean, I fished a shallow sport tournament. That was fun, right? Because they have the captain's dinner at Louis, and then they have the reception there at Louis as well too, and just kind of the overall vibe is out there. It's just a good feeling the whole weekend. Yeah, there's a lot of boats out there on the water on Saturday, but for the most part, it's pretty laid back, and it's just a good time all the way around. And whether you catch fish, you do or you don't, it's just fun to be out there. And like Jeff said, you're out fishing, right?
Yeah.
You got to pull in your hands and that. So with that being said, any other closing comments you guys might have?
I got one more question for both of you. What tip would y'all give to somebody who's starting to do tournaments?
You're not going to win them all. And if you go out there with a mindset that we're going to win, and you're going to be upset at the end of the weekend.
Been there.
I mean, make plans to have a good time. You know, make your plan. Don't let anybody tell you, hey, well, the fish are biting. No, you make a plan. Stick to your plan. That's the best thing we always try to do. We've learned that when we deviate from our plan, that's the worst day we've had out there. We make a plan, stick to it, have fun, enjoy it, and get sponsored, man, because they're expensive.
Yeah, I think we're going to talk
Get
about
sponsored.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, as much as you can. But I mean, having fun is one thing, and don't expect to be out there and you're gonna catch big reds or you're gonna catch, say, winning fish. I mean, it takes a lot. I mean, you have to fish. You have to be out in the bay. You gotta know your bay. Most of these guys, like, they always say, hey, hit me up. Let's go wading. Let's go fishing, stuff like that. I mean, some of these spots, we fish, kind of don't want to hit it too much. I mean, but I mean, you say people want to just kind of keep it more to yourself. Kind of, I mean, there's gonna be fish everywhere, but like certain areas that you fish, say most of the guys, where the flounder.
So we're the flounder.
I mean,
HEB?
it's I tell everybody I mean, being out there every weekend, fishing, looking for them. I mean,
Do your homework.
It takes, do your homework is majority of trying to catch the species that you're looking for. But it takes a lot. I mean, time, away from the family, stuff like that. But I mean, time, it's a lot of time. That's the majority of the thing.
And with that in note, guys, I people that know me, that I love to fish. I'm not much of a tournament fisherman, but I did mention earlier I've gone to some where I'm focused on the tournament and I don't do any good. Yeah. And my last tournament that I did for the Valley Haven, we actually placed second on the red and second on the third on the trout. And that was probably the tournament where I did exactly what y'all are saying. I went out and had fun with my friends.
Yeah.
And we had a game plan. We stuck with it. And it was fun, and we ended up placing. I'm not gonna take the credit. I didn't catch any of the.
You fell in the
fish.
water, but
I fell in the water. Got our baddest video, but it was fun seeing the guys that were with me. My best friend Robbie, catching. He never catches. That guy never catches. He never catches. So he caught both, and it was fun.
One thing we did also was growing up. My kids, as they were growing up, we fished a lot of tournaments together. I mean, I remember doing TIFT as a family, and I said that a while ago about sponsors, but I said it jokingly. But you start fishing, just your family. You split your entry 4 ways. You split your Calcutta 4 ways. It's a lot different than doing it all by yourself. Yeah. So we did it for years by ourselves, as a family and stuff. And it gets stressful sometimes, So you just gotta know when. Okay, you know what, guys, we're out here to have fun. At some point, I pushed my kids, maybe a little bit too much to try to catch fish, but I mean, they knew it was all for try to win the tournament and not to put any extra pressure on them. But sometimes they felt like I was putting pressure.
Yeah,
on
no, I can see.
They
That would
would
be.
tell me that. So just go out there and have fun, man.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, it does get expensive. Like
another thing is I was gonna say expensive. I mean,
average tournament costs like $300-$400.
I mean, that's just tournament. You gotta buy bait.
Yeah.
Fuel. Munchies, beer, water. I mean, it adds up. I mean, people think it's cheap. People think it's cheap. I mean, it's like, oh, let's take me fishing, this and that. I mean,
that's just expensive. Fishing in general. I think we're gonna do another show about the real cost of fishing.
I wish I had a sponsor to pay for my tournaments for fishing.
And I think on that also, I mean, I know we mentioned earlier about, do we always weigh in, and we don't, but one thing I did learn that about a year and a half ago, like, we didn't weigh in and we saw the board and I'm like, we could have gotten at least third place, something like that. And not only that, but for the tournament itself, man, I mean, I think it kind of helps the directors and the people, running the tournaments to kind of get everybody in the weigh-in. You know, I know we've had a long day. You know, it's 8, 9, 10 hours of fishing or whatever it is. You know, but bring in your fish and just weigh it in. I mean, it is what it is. You know, but go and enjoy it, have a good time, and I think those directors will kind of learn from it, and then you know maybe make it better the following year. But it does look kind of sad to have 4 or 5 teams weigh in when you know there was 40, 50 boats out there. You know,
I guess the only advice I have is if you want to get on the leaderboard, be the first one to weigh in, and you're
just watch it, take a picture.
There you go, Gary.
I was winning. I was winning.
I was in first place for 10 seconds.
That's a great,
Until the
great
second.
advice.
That's another thing. If there's a tie in the end, they're going to go to the guy that weighed in first.
Yeah.
To determine the winner. So.
Well, guys, definitely thanks a lot for coming to our show. We definitely learned a lot. I learned a lot about this. I'm definitely not a tournament fisher. I maybe fish once or twice a tournament a year, and so definitely appreciate you guys coming out here, sharing your tips and giving our advice or helping our audience become better tournament fishermen. As well as Jeff for giving us that different perspective on kind of running the tournament and things that go into it, as well as, you know, the things that he said is just like everybody has the same chance when you come out here. That really stood out to me. So no one gets favorites out there. So, all right, guys. Well, thanks for staying tuned and watching.
The fish don't care who you are.
The fish don't care who you are, right? So thanks, guys, for sticking tuned through the video or through the show. Definitely appreciate you guys watching this entire video. I know we ran over a little bit. We tried to keep the show at about an hour. We went a little bit over that today. So definitely thanks for that. We didn't have any technical issues, so that was actually we had one time when the camera went out, so that wasn't too bad.
Fabian not knowing how to put his phone.
And Fabian knowing, but we figured that out. So every show we learn something. Every time we get a little bit better, and so at least we think we do. But anyway, so thanks for watching our video. If you haven't already, please subscribe and like this video, and we'll see you on the next one. So thanks, guys.
Thanks, sir.
You need to learn how to cut that guy's mic off.
You're still on? Mic check.
In my mind, I've got 'em big red on the line. That's where I go when I'm itching to feed my 7-day addiction.
Yeah, man. So I did good in that. Well, the guys that went with me, we all did good. It was a fun tournament. But I think that was my focus on this tournament. It wasn't even winning. It was just like, hey, let's just go fish, man.
out there, yeah.
And then we win something, and then all of a sudden we're like, damn, do we won?
That's always a plus.
I would win in kayak.
You
Kayak
win.
was different for me. Kayak, I would win on those, but on the boat, I'm still learning. Every day is just different.
I think it is the payoff, man. The payoffs bring people back, and I love doing the
Yeah.
full pop, man. Because like I said, I've
Yeah,
never
full
won that
pop.
one.
I forgot that's one of my favorites. It's like I said, we won. Was it $4 grand? On just sheep head. Like you're like, oh, that's a good fish.
Those are crazy.
Dude, it was like, and then I just had to give good stuff. Like easy weight bells, to give stringers, and it's a bunch of. I mean,
You get what, 4 tickets per
Yeah.
angler?
Yeah.
I think every year I won at least 2 of the tickets.
Yeah.
And you're talking, you know, rod and reel combo, you know, the stuff that is worth more than 50,
Yeah.
$80, you know, I mean.
Do you all pick tournaments based on how much money is getting paid back, or does that play anything? Because it's always been
Like
a
this
propeller,
year,
you
like
said,
there's a
right?
lot of tournaments that I kind of